What is up, everybody? Josh here again, and today we have a new Valheim Ashlands video for you. Today we're going to be showing you every single one of the new weapons that was added in the Ashlands update. Let's get into it, shall we? So from what we can tell, there is 33 new weapons available in the Ashlands update. This does exclude any of the payloads. We didn't really consider them a weapon, even though they technically are a weapon. We'll start off with the first one here, which is the Slayer and its variations. There's 3 variations of most weapons, which ups the weapon count, of course. We have the Slayer, and the Slayer is a basic two-handed weapon that you can sit there and attack with like that. And here's the stats for the Slayer weapon. And it also decreases movement speed by 5% and does a decent amount of slash, 170 slash. Of course, it's crafted in the Black Forge. You have to have a level 3 Black Forge to make it. And you also have to have 30 Flametal, 5 Askvin hide, and 3 of the Morgan Snoo. And while we're here, we're just going to go ahead and show you the Brutal Slayer, Scourging Slayer, and Primal Slayer, what they require. They all require, of course, the base Slayer item. Then you also need additional 15 Flametal and 1 Bloodstone for the Brutal. For the Scorching, you need the 15 Flametal and the Iolite, as well as the Slayer. And the Primal just needs the Slayer, 15 Flametal, and 1 Jade. Of course, these are all found in the forts and stuff like that when you do raids. We do have a guide on our channel if you're interested on how to find all 3 of those items there. But those are the prime ingredient for the upgrades or different variations of weapons. So it looks like you only need a level 3 bench to make the Slayer, but to upgrade it to the Brutal, Scourging, or Primal, you're definitely going to need a level 4 bench. So we're going to show you the Brutal Slayer here real quick. The thing about the Brutal Slayer is that it will actually increase the damage per missing HP. So if you're missing HP, you'll actually get more damage with this weapon. We're at almost about full HP. Now we are. And we're going to hit this troll doing about 102 damage. About 108 that time. Now here we are pretty much near death. And we're going to hit the troll again, and it's doing about 122 damage. Stunned him that time. So crit's got 178, so you do a lot more damage to lower the HP you have with this weapon. Which is pretty nice, actually. Next up, we have the Scourging Slayer, and it is a lightning-bound weapon. Basically, it does everything that the other ones do, except for it does lightning. Lightning actually is a effect that can cause staggering. It also can be blocked and reduced by armor, of course. So we're going to show you the lightning effect. You can stagger like that and cause electricity. Electricity doesn't do any DOT or anything like that. Doesn't do any damage over time. It just it does cause staggering. And it does look like it hits like a truck. It does cause 10 lightning damage, so it does damage on hit, and it can cause staggering. And finally, we have the Primal, and the Primal will do poison damage. It also has a neat chance to imply an effect, and this is probably one of my favorite effects. It's basically a root, which will root enemies in place. So we got another test subject here. And we're going to hit it with this and show you the poison damage. So it does 10 poison damage and has a chance to root in place. Oh look, and now it's rooted. And it can't move. And we can get away. This is probably one of my favorite. Primal is probably one of my favorite variations in the game currently. Because I like the root. Keeps stuff from running away and keeps it close to you if you're in melee range. So next up we have the Nidhogg, and the Nidhogg is in 4 different variations. We have the basic Nidhogg, we have the Nidhogg the Bleeding, we also have Nidhogg the Primal, and Nidhogg the Thundering. And of course all these are crafted in the Black Forge. We'll pick up this one and show you. The Nidhogg, the basic one, or the first version, it does do slash damage, 135 it looks like, and it reduces your movement speed by 5%. Named after the evil dragon that dwells by the roots of the world tree. Of course, it is crafted in the Black Forge, and you do have to have a level 3 to make the base, 4 to make the upgraded versions. The base does require 3 charred bone, 12 Flametal, and 2 Askvin hide. For the upgraded Nidhogg, the Bleeding, you need the Nidhogg, Flametal, and Bloodstone. For Nidhogg the Thundering, you need Nidhogg, Flametal, and Iolite. And for the Primal, you need Flametal and Jade. as well as the basic Nidhogg. Just 3 for the base version. You need level 4 to actually make it and to repair it. And of course, it just does some pretty basic damage. Decent amount though. Looks like about 80 to 100, somewhere around there, at a level 12 for swords for us. The bleeding, of course, it does the damage increase when your health is low. So whenever your health is low, it will do additional damage, just like we showed you with the other one. And this is what it looks like. Just does like a red mist around the enemy. The Primal, of course, does the poison damage, like so. Of course, it also does the root. Of course, the Thundering does the lightning damage, like so. The next weapon we're going to go over is the Splitnir. I think it's pronounced Splitnir. And we have the Splitnir the Bleeding, Splitnir the Storming, and Splitnir the Primal. And of course, it's got all the different buffs, so we're just going to go over and show you what they do real quick. It does pierce damage 135, and all these stats here. Split your enemies' hearts in 2. And of course, you guessed it, the Splitnir is made in a level 3 bench and 4 for the upgrades. You need 10 Ashwood, 6 Flametal, 2 Askvin hides, and 3 Bone Maul tooths to make the Splitnir. To make the bleeding version, you just need Flametal and Bloodstone. The Storming, you need Flametal and Iolite. And the Primal, of course, is Flametal and Jade. And, of course, the Splitnir. And here's a basic Splitnir in action. I don't really do spears, so damage is going to vary, but that's the basic one. Here is the Bleeding, which does additional damage, low your HP is. Strong attack. You can actually throw the Splitnir as well with the middle mouse button. And of course, the lightning will do the lightning damage, like so. And here's the Primal. Which does the rooting and the poison damage. That is it for our first 3 weapons and their variations. So let's move on to the Flametal Mace. And the Flametal Mace is crafted, of course, in the Black Forge. The Flametal Mace does give you, of course, blunt damage. It's probably one of my favorite weapons against the Skellies, and it does knock back quite a bit, actually. Flametal Maces are crafted, of course, in the level 3 Black Forge. It seems like most of them are level 3 and then 4 for the upgrade. And it requires 10 Charred Bone, Flametal, 5 Sulfur, and 3 Askvin hide. The Bludgeon, which is the upgraded version or Bloodstone version, is Flametal, Bloodstone, and the Flametal Mace. The Lightning version, which is called the Storm Star, is 8 Flametal and 1 Iolite, plus the Flametal Mace. And the Klossen, which actually looks different whenever you craft it, it requires a Flametal Mace, 8 Flametal, and 1 Jade. This is probably one of my absolute favorite ones in all of Ashlands, to be honest, as far as maces go. And the regular Flametal Mace, it just, you know, it's just a mace, basically. Smack it. Just a basic mace, really. Here's the Bludgeon. And of course the Lightning, which does the stagger. Very nice. Of course, the Klossen, it does look different. It's really a nice looking little block, to be honest with you. But it does have the, of course, it's got the root and the poison. Oh, ran out of food. There's the root. Nice, it actually rooted it. You'll hear root sounds whenever it roots. See how he can't move? Next up, we have the Berserkir axes. Berserkir axes are 2 one-handed weapons. So yes, you could sit there and kind of attack fast like this, or do the middle mouse button and do like a shoot forward like that, which is pretty neat. Just remember that every weapon does have a middle mouse button, or at least most of them. You need a level 3 Black Forge for the base version and level 4 for the upgraded versions, but the Berserkir axes are crafted for 15 Charred Bone, 24 Flametal, and 3 Askvin hides. The Berserkir is the base weapon, 5 Flametal and 1 Bloodstone. Thundering is the base weapon, 5 Flametal and 1 Iolite. And the Berserkir Primal is the base weapon, 5 Flametal and 1 Jade. Of course, the base weapons, you just sit there and attack like this and destroy stuff. We got the bleeding version here as well. Release a flurry of attacks, which is pretty neat. We have the lightning version here as well. Which does the electricity damage and chance to stagger. That is very interesting. I'm kind of curious as to how fast or how many times it will stagger things since we're attacking with 2 weapons. That's a very interesting concept. Got a few trolls here. Doing a little bit of stagger here. Not too bad, actually. And of course we have the Primal, which is the root. Oops. There's the root. You can see the root animation in the middle of his body there. And he can't move now. And of course, all these weapons, they do slash damage. And they do a little bit of knockback, not much, but they do slash damage. 140, it looks like, on the base weapon. And all the other versions as well. Next up, we're going to show you the ranged weapons. We have the Ash Fang, very first one right here. The Blood Fang, the Storm Fang, and the Root Fang. Of course, they're all pretty much the same variations as far as what they do. The Primal, the Bleeding, the Lightning, all that good stuff. We're going to show you where to make them. And you guessed it, it's the Black Forge. We crafted at level 3 and 4 for the upgrades, just like all the other weapons so far. 10 Ashwood, 16 Charred Bone, 5 Flametal, and 5 of the Bone Maul Tooths. Of course, it does piercing damage for that. And the Blood Fang is the base weapon, 5 Flametal and 1 Bloodstone. The Storm Fang is 5 Flametal, the base weapon, and 1 Iolite. And the Root Fang is 1 of the base weapon, 5 Flametal, and 1 Jade. And we're just going to use Obsidian Arrows just because that's what we had readily available. I'm going to show you what it does. I don't think we're the best with bows, but it does do a decent amount of damage. Nice. The Blood Fang's exactly like the other blood or blood versions of weapons. It does the damage increase when you're lower on HP, and this is what it looks like when you hit a mob with it. Just kind of like a red haze kind of deal. Oop, he hit me with a rock. Does a decent amount of damage. Here is the lightning version. Ooh, hit me with a blade. And of course the Primal with the poison and the root. Nice, first shot right at him. This is awesome that you can root from afar like this. See if we can stun him again once he gets back. Try not to get any crits on him. Yeah, the stun's not a high % chance, it seems like. Or the root, I mean, I'm sorry. There it was again, though. So you can actually sit there and root your enemies with the primals. Primals are quite valuable. And of course the lightning one is really good for the stagger. The effects on the new bows are pretty neat. You can get the root and poison with this one. Of course the lightning and the stagger. The stagger is really great on this one actually. On any of the lightning variations of course. And of course the blood, you can do more damage if you're lower HP. Next we're going to talk about the new Ripper. It is a new bow as well. And it's basically like the Arbalest. And you're going to use it just like that. It does load up or charge up whenever you go to fire it. See it loading the Ripper. It does have a little bit of a load timer for you to load it. The Ripper is, of course, crafted in the Black Forge at level 3 and 4 for the upgrades. It does require Ashwood, 8 Flametal, 2 Morgan Sinews, and 4 of the Bone Maul Tooth. Of course, it does piercing damage. The Wound Ripper is crafted for 1 Ripper, 8 Flametal, and 1 Bloodstone. The Storm Electric version is an Iolite, Flametal, and the base weapon, and Root is the base weapon, Flametal, and 1 Jade. So for the Ripper, we're going to just use some of the new Charred Bolts that you can make. And we're going to use the Ripper itself. We got a troll here chasing us. And we're just going to shoot the troll with that. Wow, that was actually pretty good. Almost 2-shot a troll. There we go. Very nice. Of course, the Wound Ripper is just like the bleeding variations of other weapons. Boy. It does do some massive damage, actually. It is just like the Arbalest, though, or Arbalest, whatever you call it. Not too bad. Here we have the lightning version. We cause that stagger. Actually, it seems like they're pretty much staggering anyway. Looks like a 2-shot just now. And I'm not really that great with crossbows, so damage on these are probably pretty low. And then, of course, we have the Root Ripper, which will root. I heard the poison, didn't hear the root. Nice. So we have 4 brand new magic weapons. We got the magic gear on here, which is the Embla set, and then of course we got some E-tier food here we're gonna eat just so we can do some magic. And we're gonna pick up the first one, which is the Staff of the Wild. The Staff of the Wild is a very nice staff. Staff of the Wild is crafted in a Dundr table. It has to be level 2 upgraded. You have to have 15 Ashwood, 10 Fiddlehead, 3 Celestial Feathers, which you get off the Valkyries, and 1 of the jade pieces from the forts. It says ancient natural forces lie curled and dormant within this staff, ready to be unleashed. Does poison, blunt, uses 55 E-tier. And this staff is pretty neat. So what you do is you just left click and you'll notice that you get a large root that pops up out of the ground. And we have a few of them here. We're just gonna spawn us in a troll here and see what the roots do. The roots are gonna sit there and just smack the troll, basically, whenever they get close to them. Actually, it does the rooting debuff as well. See, they're rooted, it can't move. We got a bunch of E-tier. We got 3 E-tier foods on right now. We're just gonna spawn in a bunch of these roots and just let them sit there and smack the troll. So they do rooting and damage. And it looks like they last for about 25 seconds, somewhere around there. So they stay on the ground and do what they do for about 25 seconds, which is really nice. Next up, we have the Trollstav, and that is a new staff that's available in Ashlands. It summons a raging beast to cause death and destruction. Requires a whopping 120 E-tier. And of course, gets crafted in the Dundr table, level 2 as well. It requires 15 charred bone, 1 troll trophy, 3 flametal, and 1 bloodstone. And with this staff, it is blood magic, so it does take your HP when you spawn enemies. But it does spawn in a giant summoned troll skeleton that will actually attack you as well, it looks like. So you don't actually command this enemy. Oh look, there's another one. That one has a pole. So it will do the different variations of trolls only as skeletons that are on fire. And of course it's blood magic, so it does use your HP when you cast that. We got 2 basic trolls here, and we're gonna let them kind of just fight each other. So they will attack other enemies when they're around, and if nothing else is around, they'll attack you. They are so powerful. Look how much more powerful they are than regular trolls. They're getting whooped. Yeah, this is definitely one that you don't want to spawn in your base, probably, for sure. And now they killed both of those trolls. They're going to come after me. And it looks like you do have a max limit of 2 that can be summoned at a time. When we try to summon a third, nothing happens. And we spawned in a bunch of trolls here just to try to get rid of them. They do take a ton of damage. And it doesn't look like they despawn over time. And they pretty much looks like they stay alive until they're dead almost. They are actually giving them a run for their money. Absolutely. So this staff will be really nice situationally. You got like a lot of enemies on you or something, just spawn you in a troll and then run away and let the enemies deal with it. Next up we have the Staff of Fracturing. Uses about 30 E tier and does fire, it looks like. So only those with patience and focus will be able to harness the true power of the staff. And of course, a level 2 Galdr table is all you need to craft it. It does require 15 charred bone, 5 ashwood, and prowlstite powder, 8 of those. This is quite an interesting staff. It works kind of similar to the flame staff. So whenever you shoot fire like that, it'll jump around kind of in an AoE manner. Those do not hurt you or harm you whenever you're in them. So there's that. They just kind of do like an AoE damage, and it does do an initial attack damage. And here we have a little troll. It does do additional damage and flame damage or fire damage to the enemy. Lights them on fire, basically. And whenever on the ground, they'll sit there and do that AoE. Seems kind of weak, really, but yeah, it's basically the new flame staff. It's not too bad. Doesn't use a lot of E tier either. You can sit there and pretty much sit there and spam this. You have a lot of E tier. And finally, we have the Dyrnwyn or Dundr. Probably mispronouncing that horribly, but Dundr. I'm going to guess Dundr, maybe? And this is a magical weapon as well. It is not a staff, per se, but more like a shotgun, if you want to call it that. It does actually do lightning damage, and it's crafted with the level 2 Galdr table. Requires 10 ashwood, 4 Flametal. You need celestial feathers, 3 of those, and then 1 bloodstone. So it does have a reload timer whenever you shoot it. Kind of like the Arbalest and the Ripper. But it's like a shotgun almost. Like a magical shotgun, I guess, technically. And it uses a decent amount of E tier. Yeah, it uses a decent amount of E tier, it looks like, for it to actually fire. And we'll shoot a troll with it. Does the electrical damage and gives it the chance to stagger. This is a really fun weapon. And finally, we have this weapon right here, the Dyrnwyn. I'm murdering that, but Dyrnwyn, I think is how it's pronounced. And it is a flaming weapon or flaming sword. And it does do slash and fire damage. Sword that is broken is whole once more as flames burn hot, fueled by memories of ancient warriors. So this one's a little bit trickier. The other ones you just usually get the mats for them and you'll unlock them so you can craft them. This one does have a process. This one actually is kind of like a hidden sword in Ashlands. So we're going to show you how to make it. When you're out and about in the Ashlands, you'll come across these little areas like this right here. It looks like a dungeon. They're called putrid holes. And putrid holes is where you're going to go to find the locations for the pieces for this sword. And very rarely in the back of these holes you'll find this, and it says mysterious location. And if you hit that, it will actually show you the location of pieces for a sword. Now we have one currently in our inventory we're just going to show you, and this piece is called the Dyrnwyn Blade Fragment. This is what you're going to get once you find those mysterious locations. So let's go to a mysterious location and show you. So you're going to be looking in putrid holes, tons and tons of putrid holes. It took me maybe about 4 or 5 to actually find another one of these, just to show you. And most of the putrid holes look the same. They kind of look like this. It's just some spikes up out of the ground. You'll see skeletons usually around the beginning of it, and it's quite easy to spot. There are quite a few of them around though. They also give you cores and stuff and some pot fragments, all kinds of valuable resources in this little tiny dungeons. And be careful because sometimes there are Morgans in there too. So now all we have to do is go to those mysterious locations. So there are 3 pieces that you need to grab. So you need to find 3 different mysterious locations. No, this is not easy by any means. Of course, once you get to the mysterious location, then you need to get into the crypt, and there's a few ways to do that, actually. Careful, there actually was a purple spawner here that spawned 2-star enemies as well. There's a few ways to get into here. You can use battering rams or catapults. You can get into it with that, or you can just use a pickaxe. You can't actually damage the structure with a pickaxe, like so. Oh my god. And then, of course, you're going to come inside, and you'll notice there are some molten cores around and a tip fragment. So that's going to give you the tip fragment. And then you also get another mysterious location, it looks like here. So there's one right there for us. We've actually already got that one, I'm pretty sure. But we'll go there anyway. And I was correct. This is actually where we got the blade fragment. We found the blade fragment just kind of out in the open. And it was the location right here. The mysterious location. Now we do also have another one. Oh look, it led us to the last one. So it seems like they're kind of leading it in like a tiered fashion. It'll let you know where the location of the next piece that you need is. So just kind of follow the mysterious locations. It's going to take you a long time to go to all of them, but you have to get all 3 of the blade fragments. We're going to go after the last one and show you what that one is, which involves the boss fight. And of course, if you're hunting down fragments and you come across a mysterious location that doesn't have anything, you've already got that part. You don't need that part no more. So if you're not seeing the blade fragment in one of these mysterious locations, you've already got it. And we're at the final location. We just kind of flew over here with console commands, and we're at the mysterious location here. This is that level 2 spawner I said. Basically spawns level 2 mobs, so be very careful. The last piece, which is the hilt, actually. We've gotten the tip, we've gotten the blade so far, we need the hilt. So we busted into this one right here. Got some molten cores here we can get into. Actually, one of those flame blobs took out the wall for us pretty much, so we were actually able to get in here quite easily. This one's got a dungeon or boss tied to it. So if you see this right here, there's a little cave right next to it. And it says the Tomb of Lord Reto. And this is the boss fight. You're going to need to go in here and kill Lord Reto to get the last part for this weapon. Be highly advised to bring the best materials and weapons and armor and all that good stuff you can to kill this boss. So before going in here, I'd probably put down a portal, something like that, so you can get back here. In case you die, you very well may die actually fighting this boss. He hits like a truck and takes a lot of damage to actually kill. Basically, he acts just like one of the large warriors, though. He does the same kind of attacks. Or, of course, just stay away from him and kind of dodge him around or dodge around and, you know, hit him with ranged weapons or magic, whatever you want to use. And once you get the final blow on him, he'll drop the hilt fragment, which unlocks the recipe for this sword and lets you be able to craft it. You can craft it at the Black Forge. It has to be level 4 to do so. You need 1 bloodstone. You also need 20 flametal and all 3 of the pieces, the tip, the hilt, and the blade to craft it. Of course, once crafted, you have this beautiful flaming sword here. This thing is actually quite a nice looking sword, to be honest with you. It does glow and it does provide light. It is a flaming sword, so it does do flame damage. You'll see it does 10 flame damage on top of the 140 slash damage that it does as well. And of course, we couldn't skip this troll. We'll just use it on the troll. Very nice. And that's it. That is all the weapons that we've found so far in the Ashlands. And of course, up to this date, it is an ongoing developing game. So it is very possible that there are changes and all that good stuff to these weapons, or they add additional weapons into the Ashlands. If they do so, we'll make a short video on that. Don't forget, if you like what you see, to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribing will get you Valheim Ashland videos and guides just like this one, and streams. We stream as well. And hopefully, we'll see you next time. Peace.